money they couldn't make, but that is really genuine. Because what happens a lot with these programs, we use a lot of, we use Rhino. There's a lot of sophisticated programs that teachers try to integrate because they themselves are doing it, like Grasshopper, and I had a teacher who worked for Gary last semester, and he used CATIA. He said it was NASA stuff, but it becomes all the same thing. Students start to like have, because you have like the same colors, the same way to model something, and it just kind of looks like everybody's making different iterations of the same thing. So definitely what I try to always do is to, you have to learn the programs, you have to model things in 3D because it just the way that they ask for the work in order to show progress, because you guys know hand drawings take so long. You have to do the program, but having sketches is always really stimulating, especially for the teachers. They love for you to do sketches because most students won't do it. So any school you go to, people will get stuck in the computer screen. Just always go back to drawing, go back to what you learned.
Did you see similarity in how you had to present your work here at SAC, how it's presented there as far as juries?
Yeah, it's weird. I think it has to do more with the cultural aspect, that depending on the people that are the groups of people that are presenting. But sometimes people don't. There's not this like heavy public speaking aspect to it. And for me, I've been comfortable with that because I did that in high school, and that's probably one of the reasons why my teachers like me is because I can articulate myself in a way that they appreciate. Whereas some students, and I know it happens here, students don't really care about that or are too scared. I think that would be a really great course to add to any architecture program, to have some sort of presentation class. But it is the same. It can be a little bit in the upper levels. It can be a little more daunting. But it's all a matter of you being confident in your work.
So whenever you try to apply, what was your requirement for GPA?
I don't remember the requirements, but okay. So I had good grades in design because that's where I poured my heart into. But like I said earlier, my sciences and math classes weren't that great. I had dropped a lot of classes because of the personal issues I had before I got into architecture. So I had this transcript that was like all over the place, and I haven't really admitted to that to any of my teachers. But it didn't really matter. What mattered to them, I think, was what my grades were like in the semesters going in, or my semesters that I spent here before going there, and probably design. I would think in your portfolio. I don't know. I didn't speak to anybody in admissions office for particularly what they look like, and I don't think that's really an answer that could help you necessarily. But for me, I think that what's important is for them to realize that this is something you're really serious about and passionate about, and then your portfolio should speak to that. It doesn't. I also had a crazy portfolio. It was like a pop-up book. But I don't think that's what got me into the program either, because now I can't even use it because I have to put my work in my new work, and it's like I have to do a whole new portfolio. But really, it's about like being. I guess I would say, I'm trying to think of what Martin did. Ultimately, it's just your work and how it'll all manifest through it. And then you make your teacher recommendations.
Other than where Biggie's from, where do some of your classmates live? Like what areas? I've seen like at the field departments are like over by Prospect Park. Those are more like 950 to 1,000. Are there any areas like that maybe your classmates live in?
It's really, for me, where I live is all about like the proximity to the campus, because we leave so late at night, and then with the weather factor, like you don't want to have to walk in the middle of the same store at 4 a.m. But what happens, a lot of students will live together, like a lot of students, and they'll live all around Pratt. Students that live further away, it becomes an issue because then you have to take the subway. Nobody has a car. You can't ride your bike in the winter. So I would say, if I would recommend to you to live in that neighborhood or the neighboring areas. But some students live in Manhattan. It can be teachers I had a teacher that lived in Connecticut. So that's just the nature of New York. People, like going to DC is,
So it just depends on what you want.
depending on what you can pay, finding roommates, 1,600 for a 1-bedroom in a really nice street because my dad's really worried about safety. When it's not that, it's not unsafe. I wouldn't say it's not San Antonio, but you have to change the way that you kind of, you have to be more. Yeah.
I have a question, since a lot of my culture students are here, and I know you took it. So the idea of reading, the idea of writing, the idea of theory, so beyond architecture studio and the work, what has that been like? I mean, the intellectual atmosphere and the conversations, the discussions, how much do you have to read and how much do you have to write, and how intimidating or encouraging has that been?
I think it's really amazing what the potential for that, for the conversation and for like what you read potentially could be what the lecturer that night had written, or that your professor like was part of this book or whatever. But they really, I think what happens a lot is that there's people who want to talk about it, and then there's people who don't want to talk about it. And for me, that's always been important to try to push myself to try to read about it or go and see the exhibitions. That's probably the best part about going to New York, that they had a Bauhaus exhibition. And what we're learning in our class, our teachers go and take us to the MoMA, and that's for me, it's like a living museum, the city as a living museum. And so you'll read things in class, and sometimes students won't take it seriously, but if you really love it, the teacher might even take you. Sometimes you can go with a group of students or go by yourself, and it's just amazing to think that you're in the place where they're writing about this building and you can go and see the building. We have history field trips. Some teachers take their students to Yale. My teacher took us to Harvard. It's amazing to be there, to read about it while you're in class, discuss it, and your teachers are really passionate about it, and then they just say, let's go next class. That's a whole other component, and it's so important. You in the beginning, students are just like too stressed out with work, and there's not as much of an emphasis. They do make you take this amazing, the English course is linked with the architecture, your design one. So we get to read a lot of like really formative texts about architecture, what we're doing in that class. And then it'll come into play with the presentation, but when you get older, it becomes really apparent who did take that seriously. And those students who didn't tend to be, like, it's really obvious. And it really changes you as a person when you begin to take really that seriously. It's so important. It's more, because what happens with what I was mentioning earlier, with you working in Rhino, everyone becomes the same thing, and then if they don't know what they're talking about, it's really clear to the jurors, because they themselves, some of them like were just graduated from Pratt, or they're legends in the field, and no matter what, you can tell if you're just BSing. I think that's like a common factor in a lot of architecture schools. It's students will tend to BS, teachers tend to BS, and when you become like a fourth year student, fifth year student, that's when like they cut the fat. Like, you can tell that whether or not you paid attention in society and culture.
Question. Do you get to see work from other programs like Columbia and Cornell?
It's not as integrated, but there are some studios that work hand in hand with them. There was actually a China program this past summer that I regret not having gone to, but they worked with students from University of Shanghai or something, and the thing was they didn't know English and the students didn't know Chinese, so they just communicated through drawings. But there's not as much opportunity as I had hoped, but there's always the potential for you to do that by yourself. Columbia's pretty far from Pratt, but there's Cooper Union is really close. I would about Brooklyn is that it's not as congested as New York City is, and you get to have that greenery, but you still get the best of both worlds. And then the community is definitely a thriving artistic community. If they don't go to school there, if people go there, they don't go to school there, they teach at Pratt. Actually, so I have a friend that's a professor at Pratt. So it's just like everyone's intertwining in the name of education, art, pushing their boundaries in every level. Like the food's amazing, the culture is amazing. Sometimes I will just go and like plan out whenever I want to go to a new neighborhood, I would like choose an ethnicity, and then I'll go and like eat that food, that culture, and then like just watch people. You don't even have to go and spend money, just like 25 minutes.
Do you feel healthy living in New York?
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, is there resources? I mean, is there like places where you can buy that are close that you can buy fresh food?
It's funny that you mention that because I talk about that all the time.
That's really big.
Coming from Texas, you guys know you just go buy like the sandia down the street, and it's like there that they sell like it in a quarter, and it's like $17. It's ridiculous how produce isn't accessible to people as it is here, and that just it begins to speak a lot about like economic factors and what people eat. But there's also a big movement going on right now with green markets. You're probably like the people that started it. I know what happens here, but there's always a green market, and you can even I've read something in the Pratt magazine that students can qualify for food stamps, and not as a joke, but that you can because you're going to school. You do have to have a job, and you can use your food stamps in these green markets that have like organic produce that is used in the best restaurants in New York. But it's hard to do it. It's hard to manage all of that because you have to walk everywhere and you have to carry all your groceries, and so that's yes, and it's almost as hard as going to school, adjusting to New York City. But I feel like in challenging myself in that aspect is just going to make me grow as a person.
What was the hardest adjustment for you?
It probably was that I didn't get to be with my family, like come from a big Hispanic family. But now I live with my brother and my sister, and we have 3 of our dogs there, so it's like I'm bringing San Antonio there. And that we nonstop talk about San Antonio. My best friends that are there, they're from San Antonio, and we're always like making Mexican food, and so you can. But that's what's great about New York City because everyone is on the same page. They still go there, miss where they're from. They bring their food, they bring their culture, and it's just like this crazy atmosphere that you can learn about almost anything there, and not from a book. It's from like going and trying live octopus. It's really fun.
That's a perfect note to kind of wind down on. I'm winding down for a couple of reasons. Some of you have classes like mine, and we have to maybe wander out through here. I don't know what Marisol's schedule is, if in the way that she's wanted to kind of keep this dialogue going, and look how easily it was to take 50 minutes and find out about the experience. So she may be willing to stay for those of you that can stay. But from my class, we need to kind of drift back and take advantage of some of this discussion. But before I do that, I would like for all of us to thank Marisol.